The uncovering of Russian icons showing a black Jesus has ignited a wave of excitement and curiosity among people worldwide, especially those interested in religious literature and artwork. The depiction of black individuals in religious contexts has been a topic of considerable debate for a long time. From the early days of Christianity to the present, various interpretations have suggested the presence of black representations in religious texts. For example, some believe that the individual who helped Jesus carry the cross was of African descent. Additionally, many argue that Jesus himself might have been a native of Africa. The conventional portrayal of Jesus as white has been used to propagate a myth that has sustained the marginalization and oppression of people of color. This portrayal has perpetuated the notion that Caucasian people are superior to other races. Concerns have been raised about the timing of President Putin's decision to make these Russian icons public. Throughout history, political leaders have often made political statements by referencing historical relics, events, or symbols. These narratives have often been constructed at the expense of marginalized populations. The emphasis on a white Jesus has been used to justify and maintain oppressive power structures. The discovery of a black Jesus and other black figures in the Bible underscores the importance of incorporating diverse perspectives into historical and theological narratives. This revelation prompts us to question which narratives have been prioritized and which have been neglected. For example, a motor home in Tennessee was recently found to contain a rare painting of the Veil of Veronica, a relic associated with Jesus. The owner had been storing it in his closet for years, unaware of its significance. This discovery highlights the possibility of rich historical relics being hidden in unexpected places. Generally speaking, there seems to be a growing trend of acknowledging historical realities that were previously ignored or dismissed. This movement extends beyond religious images to various aspects of history, culture, and society. Advances in technology and communication, such as the internet and social media, have made information more accessible. This accessibility has enabled people to explore diverse perspectives and challenge conventional narratives. The global social and political climate, emphasizing racial equality, diversity, and representation, has also inspired a reevaluation of historical and religious narratives. The increasing discussions around a black Jesus and black figures in the Bible further encourage interest in uncovering additional hidden aspects of historical and theological stories. These conversations prompt us to ask important questions about representation and whose narratives have been given priority. For instance, the Apostle Paul, who authored chapters in the New Testament, was a Jew. In Romans 9, he expresses deep sorrow and suffering for his people, the Israelites. He states that he would be willing to accept his own damnation if it meant saving his people. Paul emphasizes that the promises, divine glory, covenants, receiving of the law, temple worship, and adoption to sonship all belonged to the Israelites. This lineage is traced back to the forefathers of the Messiah, who was greatly adored forever. However, Paul also notes that not everyone who claims Israelite ancestry is truly Israelite. True descendants are considered through the promise, not just physical ancestry. This distinction highlights the complexity of identity and heritage. The discovery of a black Jesus raises further questions about the racial and ethnic diversity of ancient populations. The ethnic makeup of ancient Judea was likely diverse due to centuries of migration, intermarriage, and assimilation with neighboring peoples. This diversity is reflected in the wide range of skin tones, facial features, and hair textures seen among ancient Judeans. Genetic tests of contemporary Jews suggest a degree of genetic connection to ancient Middle Eastern groups, adding to the evidence of a diverse ancestral history. The Bible and other historical writings provide hints about the racial makeup of the ancient Judean population. For instance, some descriptions of biblical figures, like the Queen of Sheba, suggest a variety of racial backgrounds. Ancient historians, such as Josephus, noted that Judea was home to a diverse population, including Egyptians, Ethiopians, and Arabs. This diversity implies that Jesus, as a Jewish man, could have had physical features resembling those of people from North Africa or the Middle East. Different theological and historical perspectives offer varying explanations for Jesus' crucifixion. According to the New Testament, Jewish religious leaders plotted Jesus' arrest because they saw him as a threat to their power. He was brought before the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate, who ultimately ordered his crucifixion. Some argue that Jesus' rejection of established religious rules and authorities made him a target of opposition. Others suggest that Pilate saw Jesus' growing popularity and messianic claims as a potential threat to Roman authority. Many Christians view Jesus' crucifixion as the ultimate sacrifice for the sins of the world, fulfilling Old Testament prophecies. However, the role of Jesus' race in these events remains a point of discussion. In societies with prevalent racial discrimination and prejudice, Jesus' possible black identity could have intensified resistance from those in power. His mission and message were already controversial, and his racial background might have added another layer of complexity to his life and ministry. Moreover, some scholars assert that Jesus was of Hebrew descent and that the Hebrew people were not originally white. The ancient Hebrews, including those during Jesus' time, were Semitic people from the Levant region, which includes present-day Israel, Palestine, and parts of neighboring countries. The Hebrews likely had a range of skin tones, including darker ones, due to the region's ethnic diversity. The Hebrews are often considered a cultural and linguistic group rather than a distinct ethnic or racial group. Ancestry, language, and religion form the foundation of Hebrew identity. The Levant's location at the crossroads of various migration and trade routes contributed to the ethnic diversity of the ancient Hebrew population. Consequently, Hebrews would have exhibited a wide range of physical appearances. Determining Jesus' precise ethnic background involves analyzing linguistic and cultural clues. Historical evidence suggests that Jesus' original name was likely Yeshu or Yeshua, hinting at his Hebrew heritage. The Hebrew language, used in the Old Testament, provides context for understanding Jesus' cultural identity. This linguistic background emphasizes the Jewish origins of Jesus' family and community. The suggestion that Jesus might have been of black ethnicity gains momentum when considering his cultural and historical context. Some scholars propose that the Hebrews Jesus lived and preached among were of African origin, implying that Jesus, as a fellow citizen, might have shared similar physical characteristics. This perspective challenges traditional portrayals of Jesus in Western art and invites a broader understanding of his identity. This ongoing debate about Jesus' ethnicity also sheds light on the broader historical and cultural narratives that have been shaped by dominant groups. The portrayal of Jesus as a white man has been part of a larger effort to align religious figures with the image and identity of the ruling classes in Western societies. This has had profound implications for how religious narratives have been used to justify social hierarchies and power structures. The conversation about a black Jesus is not just about correcting historical inaccuracies. It's about reclaiming a more inclusive and accurate understanding of history that reflects the diversity of human experience. It challenges the Eurocentric lens through which much of history has been viewed and encourages a more nuanced and comprehensive approach to historical scholarship. As we delve deeper into these discussions, it's important to recognize the role of modern technology in reshaping our understanding of the past. The internet and social media have democratized access to information, allowing more voices to be heard and more perspectives to be shared. This has enabled a more diverse and inclusive dialogue about history and identity. Moreover, the reevaluation of historical and religious narratives is part of a broader movement towards greater social justice and equality. The global emphasis on racial equality, diversity, and representation has inspired many to question long-standing narratives and seek a more accurate and inclusive understanding of the past. To further understand the historical context of Jesus' potential African descent, we can look at the broader picture of the ancient Near East and Mediterranean regions. These areas were melting pots of cultures, races, and religions. People of African, Middle Eastern, and even European descent interacted regularly, sharing ideas, goods, and traditions. This constant interaction contributed to a blending of cultures and ethnicities. For example, the region of North Africa, especially Egypt, was a hub of civilization and trade. African influence extended into the Levant, including Judea, where Jesus was born and lived. The presence of African people in these areas was not uncommon. It's plausible that Jesus, being part of this diverse and interconnected world, would have had physical features reflecting this blend of heritages. Furthermore, the Bible itself contains references that suggest the diversity of the people during Jesus' time. The Old Testament mentions the presence of Cushites, ancient Africans, and other groups interacting with the Israelites. The Queen of Sheba, who visited King Solomon, is often depicted as having African features. These references indicate a historical context where ethnic diversity was acknowledged and recorded. Archaeological evidence also supports the idea of a diverse ancient Near East. Artifacts, inscriptions, and other archaeological findings show a range of physical characteristics among the people of this region. These findings align with the notion that Jesus, as a historical figure, might have had features that reflected this ethnic diversity. Another aspect to consider is the role of art in shaping our perceptions of historical figures. Throughout history, the depiction of Jesus has been influenced by the cultural and racial norms of the societies creating these artworks. In Europe, Jesus was often depicted as white, reflecting the predominantly white population and cultural context. These depictions have played a significant role in shaping the collective image of Jesus in Western Christianity. However, in other parts of the world, Jesus has been depicted differently. In Africa, Asia, and Latin America, artists have created images of Jesus that reflect their own ethnic and cultural backgrounds. These depictions serve as reminders that the image of Jesus is not fixed but is influenced by the cultural lens through which he is viewed. This artistic diversity underscores the importance of recognizing and valuing different perspectives in understanding historical and religious figures. It also highlights the need for inclusivity in how we represent these figures in contemporary discussions and media. The theological implications of a Black Jesus are profound. For many, the image of a Black Jesus represents a powerful affirmation of the humanity and divinity of people of African descent. It challenges long-held assumptions and invites a deeper exploration of the spiritual and historical connections between African people and the Christian faith. In light of these discussions, it's important to reflect on how we can apply these insights to our own lives and communities. How can we ensure that our representations of religious and historical figures are inclusive and accurate? How can we challenge and dismantle the oppressive narratives that have been perpetuated by dominant groups? One way to do this is by supporting and promoting diverse voices and perspectives in our communities. This includes elevating the contributions of scholars, artists, and theologians from marginalized groups. It also involves actively seeking out and engaging with diverse perspectives in our own learning and spiritual practices. In conclusion, the uncovering of Russian icons depicting a Black Jesus has sparked significant interest and debate. This discovery highlights the importance of diverse perspectives in historical and theological narratives. It also prompts us to question which narratives have been prioritized and whose voices have been marginalized. Advances in technology and communication have facilitated the exploration of these diverse viewpoints, challenging conventional narratives and fostering a deeper understanding of history and culture. To continue exploring and discussing these intriguing topics, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Liking this video and sharing it with your friends helps us bring you more content about Black history, culture, and identity.